Hello and welcome to Not the Retail Podcast, the 5 Things Friday, where we take a look at the top of mind areas, issues, content, companies, activities that we'll be doing. I am Alex. You may have seen the Retail Podcast, and I'm fortunate enough to be joined by...
I am Laura. I am a Scottish lassie and I'm based over the other side of the world in Australia.
Why don't you start and then I'll take it after you.
One of the things, I went to an event this week in Sydney. It was with Klaviyo, where you say it. It was called Case Sydney. So it was a big kind of product, it was a big event where they're talking about the product and they've got some speakers up. And they released a report, which, Alex, I think you have it. So
yeah, absolutely. Here it is.
Yeah.
So full credit to them. Very, very bright.
Yeah, we're a couple.
James, is it Jim and Hurman?
Yeah, there's a couple of people, and I think Overdose was a couple of, and Anzen, a couple of people involved. But it really looked at 1.7 million customers, 1.2 billion spend. I must say the caveat is this is focused a wee bit more towards that fashion. But yeah, it was kind of something that's been bugging me, I guess, for the last year is this real big focus on retention. And I guess we know retention is important. And I think everyone's been looking at it as ways to save money, to get more bang from the buck. But this report is kind of like debunking that myth. So it's really giving a bit of a, like the whole, we all say this kind of line that's like, it's 5 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than an existing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and this report basically says that's not true at all. And actually all the findings that they were saying was reporting to a lot of retailers that really dig into that retention model. They see a little bit of a decline in revenue. And it's all about just finding ways to service whoever is in front of you at the time. And lots more focus should be on that kind of cross-sell, upsell, rather than retention as such. So retention's a little bit of a myth. And it was a really good report.
What would you? I'm so curious with that because that goes like naturally against everything I'm thinking. What's the basis on that? That got it wrong?
Well, I think it's been retention, like kind of retention and loyalty, right? So everyone's so the loyalty programs, and I think it comes back to like loyalty is such a big theme. It's not just a loyalty program. It's not a point system. So I think it has to be looking at given value, whether it be retained or otherwise. So it really kind of starts to hit on a few different aspects. Now, I think when I looked at it, some of the gaps I could potentially challenge is this was looked at revenue, against maybe that more profit and margin piece. But I definitely feel it's like in the right track, right? Where it's really about giving people the best customer service experience, and you want to retain your customers, but don't focus too much on that retention piece because you could have a retained customer, right? But over what's the lifetime value of that customer? So a lot more focus on whoever is there, give them what they need. Well, love who loves you. Was a big part of the message I heard, and it kind of came back to a bit of that theme, right? It's back to loyalty programs. They work when they're really unified into a business strategy on how you think about loyalty, from clienteling to, VIP, whatever you're doing there, it's all encompassing. And when we talk about them in really niche lanes, it starts to not work. So yeah, I think the best thing I think for me as well was we need to stop saying that a new customer costs 5 times more. It's more about the right customer and keeping the right customer. And sometimes retention after, if you assess them after a year, maybe they're not the right customers to retain. So it's a kind of...
Yeah, which I think is what the point here it was making in terms of the cross-sell and upsell thing that you said. But okay, look, interesting report. It's one of those that you sort of hear and go, really? Are you just saying that? And then I guess when you look at the data points in here to say what is and how you do that, right? And it's cool. Okay, cool. What's your second one?
Right, my second one, I'm actually unified commerce. It's kind of bugged me for a long time. What is it? Is it a buzzword? Is it a business strategy? I would say it's a really important business strategy. I think it has to be defined by the retailer themselves. So I was listening to, she was pretty amazing. Her name is Emily Pfeiffer from Forrester, and she was talking about it, and she was kind of saying that it's not a thing. And the reason it's not a thing is because there's no shared definition of what it is. However, there is a great value in unification, right? Whereas the likes of Shopify will say, no, it is a thing. It's real, it is. And I guess I'm kind of sit in the middle of the two of the worlds. Like, if you were a retailer who came out 7 years ago, or round about that time, and you used Shopify, like that was your base, that was you were all in, you were going to go to the point of sale. Yet unified commerce can be a real thing right now for you. A lot of it, really, to me, the idea of unified commerce it's really going more modular, fewer vendors, and fewer moving pieces, and the idea of like a shorter time to value. And also, I think the one thing she said as well when I was listening to her or reading what she wrote was a lot of vendors have kind of ruined this a wee bit, because you'll see unified commerce everywhere. Yeah. It's really important to ask the how question, like how do you unify, because I would say that it's more the infrastructure to get you to omni-channel. And that's, I feel, is really, it's not been very well, even me, articulated, but I would say that unified commerce is more the architecture and the way you go to market, and it's about looking at the platform. We've always been trying to do unified commerce. Right. Who wouldn't want to have a unified,
channel strategy? Yeah, absolutely.
Where your data talks to each other, lovely, and you can put in modules here and there, and they work off one UI. Everyone has been, this isn't new. We've all been moving to this. This is not a new thing. What has happened is we went through this Shopify, the boom, and we went for a model of best in breed tech. So we went down, let's get all the best in breed tech. Now what's happening is all those, they were small to medium sized tech companies, they're starting to mature, and now they're going into that consolidation mode. So now they're kind of coming back to where we were before in the Salesforce days, where it's more about I guess it's like you want them best in breed for their core function, but you really not have them best in breed for the other areas that really complement. And it's coming back to making the retailer's life easier as well with the end user. So it's a lot about the UI, the underlying data channel, unifying the best way possible. I think though, this is a conversation. It depends, right? It's if you're a big retailer with big problems and lots of tech and lots of teams, getting to one, that nirvana of single view customer and unifying everything is a journey. So it's
more architecture. I hear you. I get what you're saying in terms of it's a sort of cyclical thing that people are sort of coming back into and having this, or trying to create a single view.
Yeah, and I think it's like businesses have to have really strong leadership teams that take these concepts and define them for what is right for them and where they can get to. And, because again, I'm not if you start on Shopify and you put the pause in, you use that, oh my God, that could be pretty beautiful, right? If you're using a big complex point of sale because it really suits your business and you're not willing to move to that, or it doesn't suit your business, then that unification you can get there, but there's probably going to be a couple of different UIs and bumps. So like, where can you unify, I'd say, is the first point. Pick the biggest thing, and it's about that consolidation of tech. It's shorter time to value, right? This is what we're looking for. We're not looking for big 18-month projects anymore. It's simplifying. It's making the user interface, and working off permissions. And that's the thing as well. Don't just a tech, I think, that talks to other techs. That's not unification, right? It is, but it's more like, to me, unified commerce is your platform is, you have the one UI and it's easy to modular plug in, and the data behind it all can talk to each other seamlessly. So that was, to be honest, it took me a while to get my head around unified commerce, and I spent a wee bit of time this week, and I feel, embarrassed to say that, but that's the truth. And I think if I'm saying that,
okay,
probably still confused.
So I'm cheating a little bit, right? Because I've got 2 things that I'm going to talk about and 4 things that I'm not going to talk about, right? So the thing that I'm not going to talk about is agentic AI, because I interviewed one of the execs from Microsoft. I said I'm not going to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'll do my 2. Sunday Sporting Club. I don't know if you've got this as a trend in I'm pretty sure, because you guys are all pretty healthy, but wellness and health-based social experiences. What we're finding specifically in the UK and now coming into Europe is this sort of replacing traditional alcohol-based focused gatherings, right? So people aren't meeting up to go for a beer; they're meeting up to go to Pilates, and it is, whether it's restaurants or bars, it's another way for people to get together, to put their mobiles aside and to do something. The reason why I've chosen Sunday Sporting Club, obviously this is the future of luxury wellness. And so when you go over to their socials, you go from the sort of corporate to what brands are getting right or what they're getting wrong is lifestyle, aspirational. And in a time where budgets are reducing, I think, I talk about this in the stuff that I put out there, but the world is fracturing into these 2 sorts of systems of consumer, aspirational shoppers and luxury shoppers. And you can see what they've done really, really well is this sort of aspirational social community that supposedly, when I was reading the thing, it's not pretentious, it's really human. And it's not meant for me. I get it. But it's just, I think this is a small glimpse into an area of what there is to come in a subculture, and there's like running. There's so many different examples of these sort of health-based social subculture clubs that are emerging, and I think these girls probably do. I'm hoping it's girls. I should have checked that one up. Are doing a cracking job at doing that. So sorry, because I've got so many windows. How do I? There we go. I'm back here.
We're I guess on the fitness thing, I actually teach classes that it's quite close to me. Australia's full of the most beautiful gyms. I think a few places, more in New York, they've tried to create that really cool elite kind of club. I can't remember the name of it, but not Barry.
Oh, Soho House.
Or Equinox as well. Like they tried. And I feel we're kind of moving to the 2.0 version of that. That is a bit pretentious.
Yeah, so true.
And the kind of, I'm a millennial, but probably the young millennials, or just getting into the next gen, are starting to create these kind of subcultures, and probably a lot of guys in it as well. Like I've seen a few cycle clubs pop up as well, which are pretty cool.
The other one that on Monday I'm traveling to London to World Retail Congress, which for all intents and purposes has now sold out, as they put on their website. Which I went there last year. It was in Paris, and it's ultimately, I think this is, well, I said this is where CEOs go to learn. So I'm curious, I'm excited, I'm interested to see whether or not, how is it going to go? They're doing store tours as well, which unfortunately I don't think I feel a bit left out on this one. Whereas at some events you sort of get included in everything. On some you sort of get, because you're media or press, you get pushed to the side, and I get it. So, but what I wanted to do was, where is it? Their store tours. Where is this? View the agenda. Here we are. So they're going to be going. They're doing flagship store tours in London, because this is going to be at the Hilton on Park, which is just near Hyde Park, and literally down the road is Oxford Street. So pretty good location and very accessible. They're doing Selfridges, John Lewis, and again, remember I was saying about how the world is fracturing, and it's like, well, you just look at what I mean. Obviously, John Lewis is sort of for everyone, but Selfridges is aspirational luxury, and then you've got sort of Primark and Sports Direct, all within 500 meters of each other, all flagship stores, all on multiple layers. But you can see the two worlds. And then there are these new store formats, and I will finish up because we're hitting really at the top. So the new store formats, and I've reviewed this, Gymshark, which in my mind was London's best retail experience. They were doing everything right. But now they've got a challenger. IKEA has opened up on Oxford Circus, and they're sort of, well, I mean, they're two different businesses, right? But flat pack furniture, gym bros or gym people. But their format, the store, the most important thing here is the store format is changing or has changed. And here's some examples. And all, as I said, within 500 meters of each other. So I'm looking forward to that, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about this. Next week.
I think as well that one for the CEOs is probably going to be the best part of the conference, right? Like going out and seeing like Oxford Street would be, yeah.
I remember last year, and like for example, there was the maybe she was the CEO of Hurman in Asia, and she was in Paris again, and they were going to Carrefour. So they did, fair play to them. They did sort of attract that sort of global CEO. I mean, tickets for non-retail attendees are $7,000, right? So if you're a tech company wanting to come, you really have to be invested in going. So I'm excited, and we'll share that next week. As I said, I think we've done 5. Any closing thoughts?
No, I'll be mindful of my time in the next week. And
no, it's cool. No, it's cool.
And probably the only thing as well, I kind of mentioned to you, and I'll go into it more, is marketplaces. I think is going to take a bit of a lift, and I think it's just because everyone's so aware of social, and they're coming back to the basics. And if they're not, how can you do TikTok and all the rest of it, your traditional, when you don't even have an Amazon strategy? To me, that's table stakes. That's so an American phrase. I heard at Shop Talk, table stakes before you go. So, and I'm just really looking forward to hearing some of the differences between the opposite side of the world, Alex, as we kind of get into this.
Laura, thank you so much. Have a beautiful, is it a sunny day in Sydney? I can see there's like, it looks like palm trees behind you.
Yeah. It's
like, wow.
Sorry, make you jealous, but anyway.
All right. All right. Until next week.
Bye.